Hello webheads. Today I want to make a video on my wish list for Xenoverse 3. Now if you don't follow my TikTok, you wouldn't know that I'm into Dragon Ball because I don't necessarily post Dragon Ball content on YouTube. But yeah, I am a pretty big hefty Dragon Ball fan. If I get a cut, I have my blood yelling at me if Goku's stronger. Now let's get into this wish list. Make sure to leave a like and drop me a sub. I'd really appreciate it, and it helps my videos get into the algorithm more. Now, one of my big gripes with Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 is when you go Super Saiyan, your hair does not spike up. So I think number one on the list for Xenoverse 2 is to have spiky hair. Now, for people who don't understand the concept or not really into Dragon Ball, like, you don't necessarily understand, but this is a big thing. So when Dragon Ball Xenoverse 1 and 2 came out and they didn't have your hair go spiky, it was kind of disappointing, because I mean, majority of the older Dragon Ball games did this, and it's the fact that Bandai couldn't do it. And to be frankly honest, in my opinion, it was lazy from them. Now, another thing I want is Saiyan tails that actually move. And the thing is that they could have done this in Xenoverse 2. I mean, they had tail animations before. I mean, like, look at the Frieza race. It is a prime example that they could have moving tails. So, I would really like to have tails in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3. Now, this is probably a guaranteed thing. If you look at the trailer, there is a guy in the trailer with a moving tail. Now, I'd also like to have the ability where when you're customizing your character, you have the option to have a tail or not. Like, if you want to be like a Saiyan without a tail because you're just, I don't know, maybe tails are not your thing. I mean, but if you're a Saiyan fan, I think you should appreciate tails. It's a part of their lore, right? But if you don't like them, we should have the ability to, kind of toggle them on and off. And I believe that Xenoverse 3 is going to do this. Shout out Rhyme Style. But Rhyme Style did mention that he gave them a, kind of binder that they kind of had reference on. So I firmly believe that Xenoverse 3 is going to pretty much give us all the things that I pretty much just mentioned. Now let's talk about transformations for the other races. At the time when Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 came out, right, Awakening Piccolo thing was not a thing yet. So they couldn't really implement that. And the giant form concept was cool, but I think it was kind of necessarily poorly executed, in my personal opinion. Now I understand they needed to balance it, but it was to the point where, like, the stamina system was kind of just, you were in the form for like maybe 2 to 3 seconds, and it really sucked, in my personal opinion. If you didn't have the Super Soul or like whatever, it was just like really bad. And I think majority of the other transformations for the other characters besides the Frieza race, their transformations really sucked because they were all heavily stamina based. Like, Kid Buu was stamina based. If you didn't have that one Super Soul, like, you could not rock that transformation whatsoever. And it was kind of like, man, this sucks. Like, what's the point? Like, Kid Buu didn't have a limitation on his transformation, like when he transformed. Nah, bro was just OP from the start. And the fact that we get our custom characters that were basically, a reskin of Kid Buu, and we're not as OP because our stamina is running out because the transformation costs stamina, and I don't think that's how it worked in the show necessarily. So in my personal opinion, I'd rather not have transformations work off of stamina or anything like that. I really hope they kind of get rid of that. Now, if they do like a new Majin transformation, I wouldn't really mind like Super Buu. And if they kind of have like an absorption thing, I wouldn't mind if they did the whole Kid Buu thing again. But I think they should do it differently, where we could, I don't know, maybe customize our moveset and everything. Because once you go into Kid Buu, you had a preset of moves, and it's okay, why are we Kid Buu? This is our character's own version of Kid Buu. We should be able to do other things, right? Now, another thing that I would really want, as much as I love some of the clothing in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, a lot of it is garbage, to be frankly honest. I really would like to see a lot of modern clothing come into Dragon Ball. Like, I want to rock a, like, skater-esque, like, I don't, maybe alternative type of rock for my character, right? And I can't do that because Xenoverse doesn't have modern clothing, right? Unless you get mods, right? So I would really, really love, like, some modern clothing to come to Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3, and that would be absolutely amazing. Now, something else, it seems like, you know, we're not really necessarily time patrollers in this one, but I do like the whole concept of Great Saiyaman, and I think when it comes to designing our own like type of Saiyaman thing, I think we should be able to, right? Not just the colors of it, like we should be able to design our own helmets, our own like visor, and like our own type of fit that we transform into, and that would be pretty sick. I think allowing more customization for the clothes would be a 10 times better like thing than not being able to, because listen, I love wearing Goku's gi, but I would also like to change the colors of Goku's gi to black and red, because that is my favorite color combo, right? Or like black and silver, right? If I want to rock like a symbiote Spider-Man thing from Sam Raimi, I can't necessarily do that if I'm wearing like actual character clothes from the series, because they don't allow customization. Now, something I would really, really want is like aura customization, right? Like the interpretation of the aura that you have. Like for me, I'm a big fan of the original Super Saiyan aura and how like it was kind of like fiery, and I just love to have that with my Saiyan transformation, right? So I think we should be able to customize our aura more than we were able to in Xenoverse 2, because we weren't allowed to, and it kind of necessarily sucked. Another thing that I would really love for Xenoverse 3 to do is to not kind of be lazy when it comes to our characters like looks, in terms of like, prime example is like when you look at Potential Unleashed Gohan, he looks absolutely amazing when he's Potential Unleashed, but then you have us and it's like you just get the aura, that's it. I want them to like actually give us the shaders that the main characters get, instead of just giving us the aura and that's it. Now, last but least, I would like to have the ability to customize our ki blast. And what I mean by that is, like, let's say you have a Kamehameha and you've read the manga. Well, maybe you might want to have a yellow Kamehameha. I would really love if they gave us the ability to do that, because hell, even Jump Force did it. And the fact that Xenoverse is a game all about customization and they didn't give us that ability really sucked, man. Anyways, these are some of my things that I'm kind of hoping that Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3 does. Now, with Bandai, there's always a potential that, you know, they miss something, because majority of the time they do. Like, prime example, Sparking Zero. I was super hyped for that game, and then, like, you know, it got really boring because there was only one mode, and there were just wasn't a lot of fits. So as much as I love Bandai, they are kind of stingy when it comes to certain aspects. I mean, Xenoverse 2 was a prime example. I remember being so hyped for Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, and I went Super Saiyan, and noticed that my hair was still the same, and it sucked. You know, a game all about customization not being very customizable in those types of aspects really sucks. I've also really started to recover from my surgery, so I'm gonna try to post more content. If you guys ain't following the TikTok already, I highly recommend you do so. I mostly post on TikTok because it's where I have most followers, so I tend to focus on TikTok more, but I'm also going to try to, you know, post here more, because there are certain people who cannot access TikTok because, you know, for an example, let's say they live in a country where TikTok is just not available. So let me know down below what you guys kind of wish for Xenoverse 3. Also, make sure to follow the Twitch. I'm also going to be, you know, streaming sometime next week. I'm going to continue my playthrough on Cyberpunk 2077, and it should be fun, man. Should be fun.